Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very, very, very special edition of Chats and Graps. Thank you to SNME Radio for making this one happen. This is going to be airing first on the Sunday night main event radio show, and it's going to be a super exclusive, and then everybody else can be able to watch it on YouTube. But you haven't seen me since last year. I'm Lyric Swinton. I did a lot of the G1 Climax coverage from last year, and this year I'm back doing a little bit more cool stuff, specifically around Black History Month. And nothing says Black history quite like, in my opinion, the best women's wrestler in the world today. We have the forever Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, the Fallen Goddess, the Alpha, the American Joshi. Athena is here.
Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Haha. I've made it.
Super exciting. I am super excited. I remember at the beginning of this year, I said, this is a dream for me, and for it to finally happen is absolutely outstanding. How are you today, Athena?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm shaking off the morning, which is like really weird because I was just telling you, I'm totally a morning person. I'm up at the crack of dawn. I'm in the bed when the street lights come on. So I'm just totally a morning person. I just can't shake it today.
There's so much to talk about. Obviously, we are in February. We are in Black History Month, but also we are merely a day after your return to Ring of Honor. Right now, you have something going on with Nyla Rose, and
something. She's trying to usurp everything from me. Look, I took a long, hard-earned vacation, and this hussy came through to my cookout, tried to take my Minion Mafia, my MIT, my minions, and I'm not happy about it.
And so you talked about the Minions a little bit, and so I think you've had what I believe is probably the most dominant women's championship run I think I've ever seen in my entire life as a wrestling fan. And so you have this fan base, it's the Minions, and you have like your partnerships, and a lot of that stems from you being a fan of Despicable Me and all these other things yourself. And so you're this monster heel and you do it so well, but you're also bringing in all these elements of like your fandom and stuff into it. So like, how do you like create that balance for yourself as you are doing it?
I feel like just to touch back, like I'm a big nerd. Like my room isn't set up right now because we just like got new carpet. It's so like my whole walls are blank, but I have like all these fandoms. I love cartoons. I've loved cartoons since I was a kid. It's like my safe space. Even now, I talked about it in one of my first media scrums. Like I love Craig of the Creek, just with that representation and stuff. So like I feel like for so long I was very challenged with showing me as a person because I'm very introverted outside of work. It's very difficult sometimes to be able to showcase who you are as a person. And that's part of the reason the Ember Moon character came about, because I wasn't comfortable with showing people who I was. I wasn't comfortable with just being me on TV. And like I've always, since before Ember Moon, when I was on the indies before, I always used my character as a mask. In some kind of way, this just keeps coming through to the cookout that like my fandom is slowly showing to the point where like I throw Easter eggs on TV with my socks. It's gotten down to that. Like I think I had Kirby, I had Pickle Rick at one point in time. Like so it's really cool to be able to find myself within my character, if that makes sense. And it's been like a long time coming. Like everyone knows me as a video gamer, a Pokemon enthusiast, but like to be able to showcase some of the other things I like I love the Minions. Like I love the Minions. But like I think someone on my Twitch stream was like, why don't you call us Minions? You're such an evil overlord. I was like, Overlord? I will be the Minion Overlord. And so all this kind of came organically together with some of my fans from my Twitch stream, and then just moving forward, and it's just kind of escalated to what it is now.
So you talked about this happening really organically. And so when you go back to late 2022 and the match that started it all, I think that match on Dark with Jody Threat. Did you expect everything that's happened since when you originally made that initial shift? Like, did you have a plan for this incredible run and everything? Or was that completely organic too? And you've just been kind of like just continuing to evolve since?
It's so weird because like when the Toronto, I think it was Toronto, when Toronto happened and the match aired, I don't think anyone was expecting that because we were both fine after, and Jodie's awesome and she's doing amazing things in TNA right now. But I don't think anyone expected that type of reaction. And it became like we had a choice. And I was talking to my husband, Matthew, about it, and he was like, because I was like about to like post and like because I was getting attacked on social media and I had never really experienced this anywhere, because when I was on the indies before, I wrestled like that all the time because I was a bad guy on the indies, and everyone just knew me as my former character Ember Moon. They knew me as the yay baby face, type of character. So it was really one of those things that I was like, I've been trying to get this heel turn forever, it seemed like, because that's where I'm most in my skin. And my husband goes, like, he just grabbed my phone from me. He goes, "We don't respond. We're wrestlers. We yes and." I was like, "You're right." So my next message was to the creative team at the time. And because I think that on some level we were just like, this will blow over. And like just kind of a couple of days after, I was still trending. It was still getting bigger. Some of the wrestling veterans and legends of like yesteryear, so to speak, were all commenting on it, putting their 2 cents. And it kept just blowing up and blowing up and blowing up. And I was like, guys, I got to double down on this, and just with the guidance of our entire creative team. And I think at that time I was working very closely with Christopher Daniels and Sanjay Dutt and Tony as well. We all kind of just were like, all right, let's see where this goes. If this doesn't catch on, we'll see what happens. And it became like, I became the extra killer, and these girls who were absolutely awesome. And they come trying to get a tryout. They come trying to just get their names out there. They were really awesome for me. And I can't thank them enough for giving me their bodies, for giving me, their time. And because at the end of the day, this was for me. And I just really appreciate everyone that I got to step in the ring with, because that year, I think 2023, I had 60 something matches, and most of them were with extra talent. And, it was really awesome because even some of them would come with ideas like, oh, could you do this to me? And I'm like, oh, this is cool. That's way crazier than what I would do. So I really just appreciate everyone just kind of being on board and telling the story and making me the champion that I am now.
Yeah, you are at the height of, it feels like you're at the height of your career right now, and you're carrying this entire brand on your back and influencing a new era of women's wrestling. And as I've watched this run in Ring of Honor, and I actually talked to Maya World yesterday, it's continuously stood out to me that so many women on the indies have gotten opportunities during this run, and you're letting them showcase themselves. And these are not like boring squash matches. Like, all of them are must see in their own way. Like the one with Maserati comes to mind immediately here. And you have this spotlight, but you've consistently shared it with people like Billy Starks and Lexi Nair. So, and with the creation of the new women's television championship at Ring of Honor, because you're so dominant. So why is it important to you to elevate so many other people as you're continuing to blaze this trail, this historic trail that you're on?
I feel like I see myself in each and every person that I wrestle. I've been the extra looking for an opportunity. And I love Maya World. Shout out to my girl. You better be at training Monday. But I've been hungry. I've been where a lot of these girls are. I felt stagnant in my career. I have worked myself from the bare minimum and never had anyone, despite my, I say this all the time, despite my trainer's pedigree of being trained by Skandar Akbar, Booker T, Lance Hoyt, I have a wrestling pedigree and no one put their foot out for me. No one put that neck out for me to open the door. I had to do that myself. So this is kind of in a small way me trying to give back to them. Sometimes it's the odds aren't in their favor as far as time and stuff like that goes. But I understand the frustrations of the pro wrestling world as a, so what is it, 19 years, working on 19, I think, as a 19-year, wrestler. Like I've seen it, I've been there, I've experienced it. And just sometimes letting people showcase who they are provides some of the most entertaining and fun matches. And it gives you a natural chemistry that I don't think a lot of people expect. Because a lot of times, like, these girls are like, all right, what you want to do? Hit me in the face and that's it. And I'm like, well, and a lot of the times, like, I'm just like, if you get to do one thing in this match that you want to showcase yourself, so you can show the boss, the people in the back, that'll be like, oh, wow, I never knew, like, what would that be? That's how I open up every match. Is like, I've been told that I'm too giving at times, I feel like, but like, at the end of the day, like, that's their opportunity as well. At the end of the day, I'm still going to be the dominant champion. I'm still going to put my foot up their ass. But like, this is also, we're sharing the ring together. And I'm a firm believer that you're only as good as the other person in the ring.
Absolutely. And you talked about nearly 20 years now as a professional wrestler. And one of the places where a lot of people got to know your star was Shimmer. And you and Willow Nightingale tore the house down at Death Before Dishonor. And the match that you had felt like, and not just felt like, I think you said it yourself, was a love letter to, a lot of those women that came before, from that era of Ring of Honor, before there was a lot of dedicated space. And so, as you are now the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, the longest person to ever do so, talk about like the importance it is for you to make sure that the history of women's wrestling comes with you and is communicated specifically for future generations.
I grew up in the state of Texas, being the only women's wrestler for a long time in my area. Like, I was the only female wrestler that was like kind of getting started, that wasn't established. There was another lady named Claudia at that time, who was kind of like only doing one show. So there weren't like a lot of like girls on the indies. So I wrestled guys a lot. And then there was a girl down in Houston. And that was the next girl. So like every weekend I was working guys. And I remember like us kind of forming this network of like, okay, well, I need a girl to wrestle. Then there was this other lady named Claudia Del Solis that popped up. And like, we just kind of made this like, okay, we're gonna try to make this work so we don't have to wrestle the guys all the time. And it just kind of boomed from there with like Barbie Hayden. And I remember having this network just in the state of Texas. And then Anarchy Championship Wrestling happened at that time, where they were bringing in like Portia Perez and Mischief, and Rachel Summerlin was their mainstay there. And that became a thing. Then Booker T started bringing in more women. And it was like, I was a part of this weird shift where we were transitioning from, how do I say this without being like insulting, a more sexual based form of wrestling, into like, hey, we wanted to wrestle, we wanted to do what the guys did. And then I heard about Shimmer, and I was like, yo, what is this? I remember my buddy of mine, Richard, he had a Shimmer Volume 2, and it's very specific that it has to be Volume 2, because the very first match on that DVD is Beth Phoenix versus Mischief. And Beth Phoenix at that time was on TV. She was being the Glamazon. And it was like, I'd never seen women do what these women did, other than like seeing Shimmer, but like it was a bigger TV product, it looked like. And like the fans were just like, the houses were packed. And I was like, what is this? And how do I get there? So it became I need to get there. I need to be at Shimmer. I need to be at Shimmer. And I became obsessed with that. But coming upon Shimmer, like people like Lexi Fife, Allison Danger, and Dave Prazak, like they were like, hey, we want to provide a platform where women can be just wrestlers. Like, hey, if you want to go out there and show your tail, go out there and show your tail. If you want to go out there and kick people in the face, kick people in the face, it's fine. Just be you, but be entertaining no matter what you do. And on top of that, they were bringing in Saraya Knight, Paige, formerly, like, I feel weird because they're both Saraya, but I think she was Paige at the time. When we were all in Shimmer, like they were bringing over Madison Eagles, Shazza McKenzie, who were in Australia, Jessie McKay, like, and they were bringing, it was just a cluster of all the women across the board, like put into one place. So you were getting these dream matchups. And I was so fortunate to be able to have a tryout match. I think my tryout match was me and Bonesaw versus Jessica James and Rachel Summerlin. And we did a tag match. And like, they were like, hey, you're going to wrestle. I forget, someone got hurt. And I was just sitting in my sweats in the back, like just all cozied up. And they're like, hey, you have a match. And I'm like, what? No, I'm done for the day. They were like, no, we're telling you, you have another match. There was an injury that happened, so you're going to be wrestling Nevaeh. And I was like, Nevaeh? Oh my God. So like, and then we had an awesome match there, and and Nevaeh kind of catapulted my Shimmer career. And like, it was very important to have a platform like that at that time, because it was kind of unheard of. Like, sure, there were all women shows. I think WSU kind of sprouted somewhere in there. But like, it was so important to have platforms like that, to where like it was about the wrestling. It wasn't, there was nothing else about it but the wrestling and the individuals wrestling. And it was a really cool experience. And I kind of, when I went to WWE, when I did the Skill, Honor, and Heart, that was my like ode to Shimmer at that time. So it was just really cool to be able to have that experience, and that meant a lot. And I made a lot of friendships and relationships that have carried me throughout. Like Allison Danger, someone who is my friend, but also like, I call her my wrestling mom. She always checks up on me. She's like, hey, how are you doing? We'll talk about terrible spider memes, because she's terrified of spiders, and I'm the one that enables that, and I send her spider stuff. But yeah, because I'm a terrible friend. Look, Billy Starks will tell you first and foremost that at 2 a.m. when your phone is blowing up, it is me sending Instagram videos, because I have nothing better to do than to scroll up Instagram. But like, I've established all these relationships, like Mercedes Martinez, as much as like we like to kick each other in the face, like we are like, I have that support system, and it's really cool to be able to, Tony considers me a veteran, which I still don't think I'm that. But, it's really cool to have that faith and respect in my locker room. And I don't necessarily see myself as someone that's been wrestling forever. I just see myself as someone that enjoys wrestling.
You talked about some of these relationships and your peers. And I think specifically over the past year, a lot of your peers and counterparts have talked about how influential you are. When you asked different wrestlers who they want to wrestle, who they want to be in the ring with, people are saying Athena. I actually, I was in Japan and I got to interview Thekla over at Stardom.
And Spider Lady! Yes. She's so good.
She named you as one of the people that she would love to potentially face. And so you're getting so much, not just love from the fans right now, but I think true respect and adoration from your peers all around the world. So what does that mean to you to have so many people say that Athena is the best in the world, and I can't put myself in that conversation until I face her?
It's wild. It is very wild and weird. Because like I said, I don't see myself as like the veteran. I see myself as just someone that enjoys wrestling, and I feel like every female wrestler, or just, and I've had men too that say that, hey, we want to wrestle you. Like, I'm just like in awe of that. Like, it's a weird feeling, because I'm like, oh no, you don't. like I'm not that good, but like at the same time, it's just like, wow, like people really believe in me and the stuff that I put on a platter, like 19 years of just hard work, dedication, going up and down the road, doing the hot dog and the handshake, getting stranded, trying to go up to OVW and wrestle when I was like 20, and then trying to work my way back, going to the Nightmares school in Tennessee, all the way down to Oklahoma to Arkansas, and just trying to make my way back home and making towns. Like, it's just like all of that seems like it was worth it to just showcase who I was. I felt like for so long I was trying to find me in the ring, trying to find me outside of the ring. And like, when it clicked, and it kind of just, like I said, with the support of TK, like, because none of this would happen without TK. And it was really awesome just to be able to be given the ball, and the faith is given to me each and every week when I go to work. Like, Tony and I like work hand in hand with creating the Minion stuff. Like, I remember telling him, I was like, yo, we need a Minion graduation. He's like, I'm sorry, what? I go, he goes, I'm sorry, what? And I go, yeah, I think we need a Minion graduation. And he's like, tell me how this is, like, he just undivided attention, was like, nope, tell me how this is going to go. I am immensely intrigued. And like, he loved the idea, which is like kind of my first like live promo, like in a very, very long time out there. And I remember just like sweating, and I was like, I've been doing one takes backstage. I got this in the bag, you know? But long and short, it's just a complete honor to be named. So I really don't expect that. Like, I still am the person that I have my dream matches that I want. And I don't know if I'll ever get some, but like, it's just like, wow, like I'm still naming people and they're like, hey, we want to work Athena. Hey, we want to do this with Athena. And I'm like, wow, that's like just an immense honor. And like, my heart swells on such a different level, because I'm like, people like me, people like think I'm that good, because I suffer from a lot of confidence issues. And a lot of that is because social media isn't the kindest to us female wrestlers, from body to work ethic. And it just makes me feel like I just want to give everyone the middle finger, or to say suck it, because like everyone thought that my career was over when the Toronto incident happened. Yeah. And everyone was like, oh, she's done. Nope, that's it. And like me doubling down and trying to just work my ass off to have the best year of my career. It really did mean a lot. It like, I can't explain it. Like, it just really meant a lot that I had the faith of everyone just behind me, and I still do, or at least I think I do, you know. So it's really cool to just be able to have that support from fans and wrestlers across the board.
Yeah, you recently got a shout out from Swerve Strickland on Collision.
Yeah, that was a shock.
Yeah, you got a shout out from Swerve, which was well deserved, I think. And you two have a history of your own. Like, you had a fantastic match in Wrestling Revolver, probably my favorite intergender match of all time. Probably. Like, how is, you know, both of you right now I feel like at the heights of your careers, like, clearly, like, you know, you have that brother sister bond. Like, what does that mean to you, like, to watch him succeed, for him to watch you succeed right now?
It's really weird, because I have that bond with a few people, and it's just because we kind of came up in the business together. Or like, I remember like my husband is really good friends with Sammy Guevara, and kind of just was there throughout the transition of his career. I was there with Ricky Starks, and like Strickland is another one of those like family friends invited to the cookout type thing. So like, I remember like being backstage, and I was getting ready for like ROH. So I had makeup on, I was getting my makeup done, and he's like, here. And he's like, did you hear it? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Get out of my face. Like, and he's like, did you hear the promo? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I gave you a shout out. So he pulls it up on his phone, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. You didn't have to do that. He's like, no, I wanted to do that. You deserve this, you know? And it's really cool, because like, there's a lot of people that knew me as the young kid coming up. Like, and like, to be able to kind of experience, like, I felt like a little kid getting a shout out, like, on TV. Aww. Like, you know, it's weird, because I've been on TV for probably over a decade now. And it's just like, I'm floored. I'm floored that, you know, and this is the baby face side of me, so get out of here. You know, I'm just floored anytime my name is mentioned in a positive light. Mm-hmm. And I love that. And it just makes my confidence beam even more. It makes me want to try harder, work harder, you know. It's just it's a humbling experience that people think the world of me, because sometimes I don't think the world of myself. So
I think that's completely valid, but I hope you do know that you are like the best out here, like, just completely. And speaking of the best, we're talking about, you know, TV, and I know a ton of people ask you all the time, when are you going to be on AEW TV? But I think in recent months, we've finally seen the shift in women's wrestling, I think, in AEW. And a lot of people, including me, believe that a lot of that shift was due to some of the incredible work that you have been doing in Ring of Honor, and just completely taking advantage of every single opportunity. And so this year, obviously, there's tons of stuff on the horizon. AEW Big Business on March 13th. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we're going to usher in a completely new era of women's wrestling, not just in AEW, but in the wrestling industry, period. And it seems that you are going to be a part of this new era in some way, some form, or fashion. And I think there's some dream matches. You know,
I mean, I have dream matches now,
absolutely.
like within the AEW company. Like, I feel like I got to wrestle Jade, Kiera Hogan, even Penelope Ford, and I only like scratched the surface with our division. Like, I have a ton of women that I would like to wrestle there. But when it comes to big business, I am immensely curious, as you all are, because that is the thing that is the most closed-lipped thing in this entire locker room. But if what I think is going to happen, and I think we all think, we hope, and like we're hoping, is like I might finally get one of my dream matches. And that is one of the coolest things, because I've shared the ring with this person many times. And I've just, like, whether we were on the same tag team on live events in WWE, to like us getting to like briefly touch in Money in the Bank, to us briefly touching in like this awesome Fatal 4-Way that we had on Raw. Like, I just wish the world for this person, because she's someone that I think is one of the absolute best wrestlers in the world. And like, though I love to be immensely humble about myself, because I do have, like I said before, I do have those self-esteem issues, I would love to see what I could really stack up against with this person, if she does come here. And I would love to see if just like I would like to see if I was better than her. I would like to see what we could create, because I'm a firm believer of like, when you have two dedicated women to the cause, like it's gonna be money, it's gonna be magic. And this woman has had some of the best matches in women's wrestling history. And I have to. I don't care if I have to go to Japan for it. I just got to get it one time. And like, it's really cool. But to your point, like, I was the first woman under the AEW, me and Willow. So let me not discredit Miss Dancy, shoo do do. You know, me and Willow got the ball, and we had the first ever women's pay-per-view main event in ROH history, the first women's main event on a pay-per-view in AEW history. And like, for the first time, it really felt like the women were given the ball. And I remember Tony brought us in, and I came to tears. Like, I'm trying not to get emotional. And he's like, wow, you're more emotional than I thought you were. And I was like, I'm sorry. It meant so much, to the point where like, I remember being in the media scrum, and I was just like so happy. But at the same time, like, him telling us that we were the main event, like, holy crap, did that mean we had to deliver? Because it wasn't just Ring of Honor's women division. That meant that we had to showcase to the entire world that we deserved the ball. We were going to have the best match on the entire card, because if we would have went out there and failed, that would have meant like, okay, well, maybe the girls just can't do it. Maybe this is too much. You know, we've seen Bayley and Sasha main event the NXT pay-per-views. We've seen Bianca and Sasha. We've seen Charlotte. We've seen all these women main event WrestleMania and numerous other pay-per-views, and Becky too. I don't know why I forgot her, but like, I just wanted to be seen in the same light as them. I remember being on the other side and being told like, look at them and look at you. Do you really think that you're on their level? Like, that was something that was said to me backstage when I was in the Fed. And it was one of those things that I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And I remember having a lot of self-doubt, and I feel like Tony really brought that out. Tony really just was like, no, you're good. You're one of the best in the world. I trust you to have this. I think he called me the inspiration for the women's division at one point in time. And I was like, I don't like, that's a lot of responsibility right there with that moniker, you know? And then he was like, I remember he told me and Billy, he brought us into the office. I think like early November or late October. and he was like, you guys are going to be the main event in Athena's hometown, final battle. And I was like, again? Like, like, and now I'm like, all right, we gotta, and you start watching film, you start going, and you're just trying to pull out all the stops to show that, hey, I belong in this space. Because at the end of the day, like, Claudio, Brian, like, all these guys, Mox, like, all these guys that have been the top dogs for year after year. Like, I remember Samoa Joe was on the pay-per-view with me and Willow, and I was like, yo, he's like really giving us the ball. Like, he really has faith that we can deliver on this. And I will never forget, like, and this is kind of the weird thing, because I've always like purposely like messed around with Tony with like my little sad handshakes in the media scrum and stuff. Like, and I'm like, I'll give him like the sad left hand one too. And he's like, and I purposely did it for a while because I thought it was funny. And I remember, like, after me and Willow main evented, he like met us on the stage, like, when we got back, and I was like trying not to cry. He gave me the biggest hug, and I was like, I got the TK hug, and it was really cool, because me as a character on TV, I just wouldn't allow that. And it was just like, it was really cool. It was awesome that Tony had the faith in us. Like, and I remember after the Willow match, he's like, what's next? What are we doing? Da 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 da. Like, and he like, then the Billy thing happened, and then he was like in there with me, Billy, and then Lexi kind of just came. I just kind of brought Lexi in by bullying her. I was like, you're in this too, buddy. And then it was me, Lexi, Billy, and TK, and we just kept forming these ideas and forming, and it was a really cool organic storyline that I don't think anyone expected to happen. It just worked, and that's the beauty of pro wrestling. It's like when you and you keep moving forward, and you're like, okay, well, this is what we did in the past. This is what the next step here. It's like this massive algebra equation that you have to figure out what the final solution is. And yep, nerd reference. And it's awesome that Tony has seen what women can do. Like, and I think he uses ROH as his experimental base. And then now we're seeing the women get 2 segs on Collision, sometimes 2 segs on Dynamite. We're seeing more fluent stories from Saraya and Ruby, down to Willow and Staten Stokely, to Julia and Sky. Like, we're seeing stories come across the board with Tony Storm and Mariah May and Luther. I have to say it like that for some reason, and I don't know why.
I love it too.
But like, we're getting to see like him give people the ball in a different way that we haven't seen before. And I think a lot of people just don't see that. They always want to harp on the negatives when it comes to that. We brought Thunder Rosa back. We have Red Velvet in the mix. Like, we're really building to something special. And like I said, if big business is the big business, I think our women's division as a whole is going to make a statement and a stand to say, hey, come try us, because we're ready. We've been ready. I just hope to end my 2024 as a Triple Crown champion, and that's the greedy part in me. I don't know if my body will hold up throughout having to defend 3 titles in a night, but you know what? We're going to try it. We're going to go for it. And, that is my goal at the end of 2024, because as much as I love Ring of Honor, I know that Tony and I have also talked. We know it's not going to last forever, even though I call myself the forever ROH champion. So this is, just know, like, I don't talk about stuff because I genuinely want it to be a surprise when it does happen. It's coming. We have talked. Like, everyone thinks that, Tony isn't a mastermind. He is. He does everything for a reason. So just wait, be patient. Stay on board with ROH, because even if I'm not able to be on ROH, there are so many women, so many men, so many tag teams, and everyone just gives their heart and soul, to that cause and that app as well.
Yeah, I was reflecting when I was thinking of Black History Month and big business specifically. I was thinking there's only been 4.
I love that we are just referring to it as big business. She's just big business. That is her name now. Big business.
Big business. I think that's a fantastic nickname. But I was thinking of, there have only been 4 Black women in history who have ever main evented pay-per-views. And after March 13th, there's a potential of 3 out of 4 of them will be all under the AEW banner. Like, this is the possibilities are endless as it relates to star power and women who aren't just taking up space, but they are the draw, the main attraction. And speaking of another woman in AEW who is an attraction is Hikaru Shida.
Mhm.
I was there at no, I wasn't there, not for All Out, but for the All Out 0 Hour, you two had a face off, and the fans got up. Like the fans were very excited to see you two finally come face to face. And after that, I was like so excited. I went back and watched your like match from Shimmer from like what, almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I think like that is a huge match waiting to happen in AEW, sitting on the table. You know, you being the face of Ring of Honor. Sheida's been referred to numerous times as the ace of the women's division. It's like the clash of the titans. What did it feel like in that moment to have that face to face? And what do you hope to see come out of that hopefully this year?
So Sheida was one of those women I got to wrestle at Shimmer. I think it was 2010. I think my memory is terrible, but I remember just having so much fun. That was when Sheida was like, I think that had to be her first or second trip to the United States at that time. And I just enjoyed that match thoroughly. And I remember when I got here, she was one of the first people after I debuted and did the standoff with Jade. She goes, "Oh, finally, you and me get to wrestle again." And then so we ended up being in this, I think it was a 6-man or 8-woman tag, 6 or 8 woman tag. And she just looked at me and she's like, "Yeah, we're doing something. We're doing something. Yeah, we're doing it." Because I think like all the fans at that time with me wrestling Mayu and Yuka and going through this and Emmy going through this, like there was a weird part of this whole transition where I was like the Joshi killer.
Yes.
Which was their phrasing, not mine. And I was like, I'll just use American Joshi because I used it on the indies, and I was like, oh, Sheida would work. And then like Sheida won the championship shortly after that. That kind of just kiboshed all of that. And it was like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, cool. I'm just going to go sit over here then. But Sheida is awesome. She's so good. She's so precise. And I would love an opportunity to be able to share the ring with her again. Just to be able to like hit hard and have fun. Like there's something organic when you just know you can just go just like not care about anyone else's safety. I know that sounds weird within the realms of pro wrestling, of course. Yeah. Like, just like, and I remember just like we got in there, we were like, like martial arts fight scene, but it was just like, that is one of those matches for me. That is one of those people that I've never beat. That's one of those matches that I have to have. Like that, like I was saying, I have Toni Storm. I have Mariah May, who's been on my radar. She thinks that girl throws a mean drop kick and no one acknowledges mean drop kick like I do. You have Queen Aminata. I'd love another round with Sky Blue. You have Saraya. You have Ruby. I've never had a match with Saraya. I've had plenty of matches with Ruby, and we love to beat the tar out of each other, and she's absolutely phenomenal. I think the sky's the limit when it comes to the AEW Women's division. Hell, I would even love to do an invasion angle with my ROH girls. Like, let's come to the cookout. But just know at the end of the day, like there's so many dream matches I do have for myself there. Like when Jamie Hayter gets back, I would love to go toe to toe with Jamie Hayter, like on such a I need this match level. Like I need this match. Like Thunder Rosa and I have had like a 30-minute time limit draw out on the indies. She was my first match back. I would love to have a match with her. So like I said, like I don't really have a preference of who I wrestle because I think in every form it's going to be an entertaining ass-kicking match. Because like I said, no one is me. Right? No one is me. And like, you guys have all this faith in me. You guys say that I'm the best wrestler in the world. And like, hell, maybe I might believe it at some point in time. I just want to get to the point where I can show everyone what I've been working on, what I've been doing. And I'm so thankful for Ring of Honor and the platform and being able to carry the show, I guess. I joke around saying it's my show, my rules, but But at the end of the day, you know, TK books everything. And, you know, he has the faith in me to carry the Ring of Honor brand. And he gave me one of the highest compliments the other day. I won't say what it was, but he gave me a really high compliment that meant the world to me. And just seeing how much faith he has in me as a performer, as a wrestler, like, it makes me feel like, yeah, I am the best wrestler in the world. Yeah, like, no one can do what I do, because I've had consistent matches from top to bottom over the course of 2023, and every match has been great, whether it be with an extra talent or whether it be with one of my Ring of Honor girls. Like, you know, when you see me on that television, you know, when you see me in that ring, that I am going to deliver like no one else can, whether it's like must-see violence or jovial stuff backstage or me just throwing a rage temper tantrum. Like, I'm gonna be that person for you. So just be patient. And also Queen Aminata. I have to have that match with Queen Aminata. Yes. Sorry. I got to shout my girl out because she's been up there like, here she is. Like,
yeah, she's been fantastic. And so you talk about dream matches, and one thing that you haven't done in your career is go to Japan. Mm-hmm. And so I think you've talked about you want to make that a reality, some shape or form, this year specifically. And so there's a lot to do. There's a lot in so many different organizations.
Like, I think people think that this last year they're like, yo, you're at the height of your career. And I'm like, but there's so much more for me to do. There's always so much more. I'm like, this is just the highest you guys have seen me in my career. Like, there's still very much so more stuff to do. Like, it's crazy, like, when you think about it. Like, I've never been to Japan. Like, I want to go wrestle in London on the indies. I want to go to Germany and wrestle on the indies. Like, you know, there's so many places that I haven't really got to showcase myself outside of WWE, but Japan is the one place I've never gotten to wrestle. I think I did a tryout match for Kairi Sane backstage at the NXT Japan show that we did. That was it. Like, I never got to wrestle in front of a crowd, and for so long I modeled myself and my style after the unique strong style that some of the Joshi over there provided. So yeah, that is my dream. I want to go so badly. Maybe if I say it long enough or enough, like, it'll happen, it'll be in fruition. So yeah.
You know, Super Card of Honor weekend is coming up in Philadelphia. You'll 9 times out of 10 we will see you at Super Card of Honor.
I gotta whoop this native beast first before we get that far. I would love to sit here and say that, like, yeah, I'm gonna be champion, but like this Nyla Rose character has been a thorn in my side, and I gotta take care of that. The only thing I'll tell you about Super Card of Honor is that I've already started on my entrance stuff. I don't know if I will be wrestling there or not. But it's going to be the epitome of my fandom, I think, as far as Dungeons and Dragons goes. That's all I will say. That is the cliff note I will give you, because I'm already working on it, and it's February.
Well, also on Super Card of Honor weekend, there's going to be a lot of people in town.
Yep.
Stardom is running a show. TJPW is running a show. And so are there any people that you would be interested in crossing paths with that weekend?
There were tons of people. I feel like the Stardom show appeals to me. I feel like the Tokyo Joshi Pro show appeals to me. Like, at this point in time, I just want to get my foot in the door and show people what I can do on their level, because they are absolutely phenomenal. They do not hold back. I mean, I remember my match with Yuka Sakazaki, and I was like, this woman is crazy, because earlier in the night, she, like, not even an hour before the show started for ROH, she was wrestling at a Tokyo Joshi Pro show in the main event. Like, and she came over here and wrestled on the ROH show. And like, honestly, if you think about that, like, if she maybe didn't do that match, there was probably an even bigger chance she could have beat me, and she gave me a run for my money then, you know? So yeah, like, there are so many people, and I feel like I'm going to mispronounce names. Mayu Watanabe, I think. I can't pronounce her name.
Miyu Watanabe?
Miyu, yeah. Watanabe is one of them. I would love to face Julia. Like, there are so many people. Thelka too. But we got to see what happens. Like, that's really far ahead, but like, it's really awesome to just be able to be put in the same light as some of those women. yeah.
So circling back, to the reason for the season, Black History Month. Clearly you are a part of Black history in wrestling, but in today's era, specifically being a women's wrestler at the top of your game, what does it mean to you to be, what does Black history in wrestling mean to you?
I remember when I was a kid and seeing Jackie Moore and knowing that she was from Texas, and that was like, whoa, she's just like me. I could be that. I could be just like her. And she had the meanest clothesline. And fun fact, she was doing something for TNA like years before they became Impact, and I actually got to train with her. And I just remember thinking, like, I gotta take that clothesline at least once. And she hit me so hard, and she's like, baby girl, you okay? And like, she has a little bit of a southern draw to her, and I was like, that was so cool. And then like I got to train with Jazz and Rodney Mack, and Jazz was another woman that I was like, yo, she's larger than life. And at that time I was watching her. I didn't get to see the OG Jazz a lot, but like the newer rendition of ECW when she got to go over there and whoop up guys and stuff on ECW TV when WWE did the Alliance angle, that was awesome. That was so cool. And I just remember thinking like, I gotta meet her, I gotta have a match. I never got to have a real match with her, but like being able to train with her, I had a match with Rodney though. I had a match with Rodney because she had just found out she was pregnant and I was supposed to wrestle her, and they were like, nah, we just gonna have you wrestle Rodney. I was like, what? Oh. I'm 5'1". That is a big ass man. But I'm so thankful I got to meet some of my heroes, and that meant the world to me because like they were just like me. They were strong, beautiful Black women that didn't take nothing from nobody, and they just tried their best to be them in their most unique form, which was so beautiful and so powerful. And I remember like conversations I had with Jazz when she found out that I was going to WWE, and like it meant the world that she was so supportive, but also gave me words of warning, like stay yourself, do this, do that, like this is how you act. And like that meant the world to me. And even then she would check on me through like other people, so it made me feel like she had her eyes on me. But it was really cool to be able to meet your heroes, because I've met some people, okay, and you're just like, oh, I could have dealt without that interaction. And then you meet people like Amazing Kong. Like I always wanted a match with her, and I had this really cool, like awesome match with her at Shine Wrestling, and I was like so ecstatic about it. And she was so sweet and so nice. And to this day, like when I see her at conventions, I'll go and give her a big hug, because I was like, yo, like her and Taylor Wilde had these awesome bangers. Yes. Even Kong and Gail Kim had these bangers. And like, it's really cool to be a part of that, right? And not only that, not just me, like Bianca Belair, Mercedes, like, or Big Business, as we like to call it. Big business. It's really cool to be in the same light as some of these women and know that we are inspiring the next generation, to know that like there's probably an African American girl in Dallas right now who's watching something I've done on Ring of Honor, and she's like, Dad, I'm gonna be just like her, which is very important to me. It's part of the reason I've always kind of stayed PG-13, and I don't try to dabble too far outside of that. Even when I was in WWE, it's like I'm here for the kids. Like even when you see me at the airport at 4 a.m., I will always take time to take a photo with a kid. Now some of you grown ass men, it's 4 a.m.
Clock it.
But no, in all seriousness, but like, I always take time for kids, because you never know what type of impact, I remember being a kid and meeting this local indie wrestler who was like on I think there was like a UPN station or something that played it at like 2 a.m. And I remember seeing him and I was like, oh my God, can I have your autograph? And I like begged my mom to pull out the Walmart receipt from 30 years ago. That's like, could you sign this? And he like, and I'll never forget this. He took the receipt and just ripped it in half, threw it in my face, and get out of my face, kid. And he was supposed to be a good guy on TV at that time. And I just was like so taken aback and so mortified. I was like, I will never do this to a kid. I think I was like 12. Yeah. I would never do that to a kid. Like like there are days where I don't feel good. There are days where my social battery is clocked out. Like I said, I'm an introvert, but like I will try my best to always never be that person for a kid. Like I will take a photo, I'll say hello, I'll have a 3 minute conversation. But like that like utterly like destroyed me as a kid, and I don't ever want to be that person. So like I try my best to just be me. I have a niece who loves watching me wrestle, which I'm also very cognizant of, because when I started hitting dudes in the face, she started hitting guys in the face, and that became an issue. Like, hey, you can't do what Auntie does. Auntie is an action star. This is a movie, you know. So like what we do kind of on TV reflects like our influence on the outside world. And I just want to show African American boys and girls that like, hey, you can be whatever you want to be. Hell, if you don't want to be a pro wrestler, don't be a pro wrestler. Go be a lawyer. Go be the president of the United States. Go be a doctor. But like, don't let anyone tell you what you can't be in life, what you can't be in this world. If you want to do something, you put your best foot forward. You put in the time. You put in the effort. You put in the work, and you go do it. Because if I would have listened to every family member, if I would have listened to all my friends that laughed in my face, I would never be here having this conversation with you.
I actually was fortunate to be at Ring of Honor Final Battle 22 when you won the title. And the reaction from that home crowd, I'll never forget it, of just how happy people were for you. Like I started crying, I think, as somebody who's been following your career for so long, to finally see. You love to see things click, like finally click, because you'll see like very talented wrestlers all the time who have all the talent in the world, but they haven't really found their place yet where they belong. And I think that moment of just watching everything click for you was so emotional, not just for me, but just for everyone in the room, specifically, I think for the Black faces in the room, of just for the people who've just been following your journey for so long. It feels like where you are in your career right now is a long time coming. And so you're almost 20 years in the game now. And then I recently I got to see Aja Kong wrestle in person for the first time. And he's the person who I think of when I think of you. I think of the type of career that you could have when it's all said and done, as far as impact. And so when future generations look back on Athena, and specifically this run you're on right now, what type of message are you hoping to send?
You know, I hope they go back and look at all of it. You know, like while like I didn't have the best experience in WWE, I did have fun. I did meet a lot of fantastic people, and not everyone had a bad like time there. And I wouldn't even call my time bad, just frustrating at times, you know. I want them to go through all of it. I want to see them see me from my very first match, which that was bad. Like I go and show some of my students that it is bad, and I will not tell you where to find it. That is how bad it is. You know, I want them to start from the beginning. I want them to see my journey, how I fought through Shimmer, how I fought through Anarchy Championship Wrestling, how I became the American Joshi, how I went through Shimmer, did the ranks there, Shine, WSU, and then how I got signed to WWE, how I went through NXT and overcame everything despite nothing being in my favor. I never got to beat Asuka. I want people to see that I tore out my elbow and did the Rumble, coming in at number 6 and coming in and busting my ass for every girl, whether they came from NXT, Raw, or SmackDown, staying in there for almost an hour with one arm taped straight because I didn't want to let anyone down. Going and having that surgery, coming back, doing Money in the Bank, jumping off of a ladder, doing the O-face on Natalia, and showing the world that, hey, I can be something special. Going there, doing the Mixed Match Challenge with Braun Strowman, and then ending up with Zack Ryder as my because I found out like everyone else on the internet that I got a new partner and be like, what happened? Going from that to me tearing my Achilles, doing a 24/7 title run, and then thinking that my career is over and crying on national television, international television, on WWE Backstage, getting released or like leaving WWE because it was kind of mutual at that time. and finding myself in AEW where I stood toe-to-toe with hands down a megastar in Jade Cargill. Fast forwarding, not winning that match, the Toronto incident, all the way till winning the title in my hometown, crying in front of my parents as they are cheering me on because they have never seen me on top of anything. I'm sorry, because that's kind of emotional.
Oh, I'm getting emotional too.
To the Toronto incident, to me winning a title, to me having the most dominant reign in ROH history, working over 65 matches last year, busting my ass to show people that if you work hard and you do what you think you have in your brain, that you can become something special. Now to having this conversation with you, being champion for over 525 days, being an inspiration to not only the AEW and ROH women's division, but to myself and the younger generation on the indies coming up. That's what I want people to look back on, is that I am a story of a person that will not quit, that will not settle, and that will continue to drive the force into the future. So that's it.
Wow. That made me emotional as somebody who's watched you for so long, and I never understood your placement sometimes, you know, of like this person, she's so talented. Like, you know, why is she not here? Why is she not there? And seeing your story, you end up exactly where you are supposed to be, has just been so affirming and inspiring as another Black woman. So thank you for your journey and for sharing it with the rest of us. I had a ton more questions, but you know what? I think that's a perfect way to go out. I have one question that I've been asking everybody throughout Black History Month, but who is one Black wrestler right now who you feel might not be getting the proper shine or the proper credit that you hope that a lot of people wake up on? Yeah.
Ooh, that's difficult, because I selfishly want to say Maya World, because she currently trains with me, though she was trained by a wrestler named Lou Gotti down the street. Like, she currently trains with me as well. I love her to death. She's such a hard worker, and she has what it takes to be something special. But I could go and say like Judy Lynn, Maserati. There's a really like, I don't want to say cute because she's a whole woman now. There's like this 18-year-old prodigy down in Houston, Texas, and I want to say her name is Mia, and she's probably going to be something special. But like, that's just to say in my area, right? There's I think a new girl that just started around the corner named London, who's also African American, and that's just my area. Like, I always wanted to have another match with Judy Lynn, because like, I think that she's so unique and fun and spunky that it could have been like better, but she got, like I said, she got in the chaos of like murder, for lack of a better term. She was in the middle of the like, hey, we have to double down on this, I'm so sorry. But that just goes to show you, like, I remember being the only African-American woman in my area, and then there were only one of us allowed on the shows at a time, because we were okay, we can't have too many Black women on the show because then you're not unique, you know? Yeah. But, like, Kiera Hogan, like, if we're going to go to work, Kiera Hogan, Aminata, Willow, like, I still think that they're going to get their spotlight that they deserve as well. But, like, I just listed, like, 10 girls for you right there. You know, that just goes to show you that things are changing, times are changing, and the sky's the limit.
No pun intended, big business.
I wasn't even trying that time. I wasn't even trying.
You know, hey, we're going to be doing this for like the next 5 weeks. It's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you so much for everything. I mean, for doing this interview and being so candid. This was a dream come true for me. Like, you are somebody I look up to, and I don't even wrestle. So that's it truly has been an honor to watch and cover your progress, your growth, this incredible run, and to keep covering it. So I'm excited for your future. I think that 2023 was the year of the fallen goddess, but I think that we haven't seen anything yet when it comes to 2024. And so I'm super excited for your future. Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
Yes. And thank you to Sunday night's main event. for all of you who are listening on the main radio show, and for all of you who might be listening to this later on YouTube. As always, I am your host, Lyric Swinton. You can find me at Lyric Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram, and you can subscribe on YouTube at Lyric Swinton. Where can we find you? Anything you would like to plug, your streams, anything of that nature?
Right there. On all social media, Athena Palmer _FG. I will not be DMing you. I don't know you. Don't. I'm verified on IG. It's the same on Twitter, but I won't pay for that verification. Yeah, you can find me on Twitch, though I think we're going to transition to YouTube soon. So youtube.com/HalfDragonAP. Same thing on Twitch if you want to drop a follow. I don't know when I'll be back. Twitch.tv/HalfDragonAP. But follow us so you know you go live.
Awesome. Once again, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Watch ROH.